Sing the song forever to the Lamb, and the angels cry, holy. If you've never listened to C.C. Winans' Holy Forever, you should. It's such a good song. I've been massively repeating it for weeks now. Discovered it and keep repeating it. Hello, patrons. I've got like 15 minutes before my clients show up. And so I wanted to spend it with you. I probably should be prepping and putting the studio together, and I'm looking at a screen blinking. Static electricity has killed a monitor, a $200 monitor. So I've got that going for me. You know, the thing about owning a podcast studio is that other people come in and use your stuff and break it, and then you've got to pay for it. So I can't narrow down who might have broken the monitor to make them pay for it, but here we are. So I'm a little bit grumpy about that today. This thing, I need this thing, and it's not working. It's blinking. This is terrible. Anyways, I'm in a bit of a mood. I woke up this morning and went to work out. I haven't worked out in a while. Yes, I'm still fat. And I feel great, but I spent the whole time listening to news podcasts, and I'm in a bad mood. I don't know. The thing about it is I want to be a news podcaster very badly. And I will be one day. I guess I am, which is why you're patrons. And everything I have done in my life, I have programmed to do this. I was thinking about this the other day. Like at 8 years old, I decided I wanted to go into talk radio. I wanted to work for Bob and Tom. I wanted to be Rush Limbaugh. So I go to high school, start the AV club. I'm in the first class that does video editing. I graduate, I graduated 23 years ago or something like that, and everything that I do now did not exist back then. Go to college for a history degree, minor in communications, get an internship at WXNT, work there for 4 years at a news talk station. Decide I need political experience if I'm going to do this right, so I go to the Libertarian Party for 4 years. Burn out there, go to an ad agency for a year, and then I ended up at Bob and Tom, my dream job miraculously. Start We Are Libertarians while I'm at the Libertarian Party, which is now celebrating 13 years, I believe, on March 12th. Grow We Are Libertarians with this goal of turning it into an empire. Then the pandemic hits and the libertarian movement goes fucking bonkers. And that all kind of eroded. I just decided that I wasn't going to be racist and populist. And so didn't really ingratiate me with the masses on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So then, I kind of have a crisis, and I've talked about it here. And I really dug in, and this episode is really kind of where we're headed and why. Because I've been putting in a bunch of work the last few months on a new series based on something Harry said during an episode right before the election. I just kind of go through a little existential crisis of like, man, I'm not going to be a talk radio guy. There's no market for me. There's no market for normal. You've really got to be an extremist and continue down that path if you want to do talk radio, and I'm not going to do that. I am stubborn. I'm the same type of libertarian I was in 2010, and I'm not frickin' changing. Okay, I'm not giving up on the nap because it's politically expedient or popular. I'm not going to give up hearing differences of opinion and being friends with people from across the spectrum and talking to them because of the pressure. Like, you look at Amy Coney Barrett right now, whose sister has a bomb in her mailbox from a Free Gaza person on the left, while she's also undergoing all this immense pressure from the right because she's not sold out to MAGA. And the message is, if you're going to get into public life, you better pick a team, and you better be as extreme as possible, or else you're done. You're gone. Chuck Schumer, You disagree with us once, doesn't matter how long you've been at the tip of the spear, you're out. Thomas Massey, you're out. You disagreed with us on the continuing resolution. Doesn't matter how principled you are. It doesn't matter how much Trump balls you have sucked over the last 10 years. Rand Paul, it doesn't matter that you endorsed Roy Moore. You're out. So that's where we're at as a country. So how do you have a republic based on norms and nonviolent civic organization in this environment? The only way is to be stubbornly against political violence, stubbornly for pluralism, stubbornly for the values that you care about. But you can't be stubborn about those values if you don't understand them. And the environment that we are in is purposely designed to rob you of the love and understanding of the values that made this country great, that make freedom and liberty possible. And, I posed the question to the guys before the election, like, what's the way through? How do we get back when we're disillusioned? And Harry was like, you dig into principles and you dig into values. So I've been putting together, I'm on like season 3. I've been working with my buddy ChatGPT, but I've been putting into a thread thoughts, ideas, values, articles, video transcripts for like years at this point into ChatGPT of like, all right, here's what I think we need to do. Here's where we need to go. Here's blah, blah, blah. With the goal in mind of doing something like this eventually. But the Foundations of Liberty series is going to debut at some point in the next month. I've got many episodes written out. Just starting with what I know, which is libertarianism, and eventually branching out into, okay, how does this apply to society? How does this interact with current political ideologies? How do we incorporate Christian beliefs into this? Because I think the Christian church desperately needs a reset on how it thinks about politics. Christian nationalism is not that. Is not it. Political liberalism infecting a church is not that. I think Christ has greatly been misinterpreted by both sides to fit their paradigm. And Christ cannot be manipulated into supporting your agenda. Christ is the agenda. If Christ is Lord and he is the King of all, then he sets the agenda. And boy, do Democrats and Republicans not understand his agenda. In both the way that we speak to each other, in the priorities that we have. But we're not starting with that. That will eventually be, it's the foundation of everything, I believe. I've talked about this a million times. Like the Imago Dei, the idea that human beings are not animals, the idea that human beings are endowed by their Creator with liberty, freedom, the right to property, the pursuit to happiness. Like the fact that human beings are created in the image of God has massive implications for why the West is the West. And so I see these guys talking about saving Western values and then say the most racist things. They excuse rapists. They are okay with defrauding the public. They're okay with stealing from the public. They're okay with leaders who lie. You are violating everything about the Imago Dei principle because you don't understand it and you don't actually care about it. It's a bumper sticker to keep you in power. So we're going to start with just what is libertarianism? And we're going to set a definitive foundation for what libertarianism is. Because this, to go full Glenn Beck, this may be the last time in American history you'll ever hear the articulation of these beliefs. So we're going to preserve them for future generations. Mostly joking, but also it could be true. I think I'm at a point in my journey here where everything, take the worst outcome and put it on the table. the levels of dehumanization that we are undergoing against immigrants, leftists, leftist law firms, MAGA hat people, it just, you are being perpetually trained to dehumanize someone if you are on social media. That's not going to get better in the age of AI. When 2 to 3 years from now they achieve the ability to think, one computer can think with all the human brains on Earth at once. Yeah, we haven't even talked about AI yet. So the plan moving forward is I've got like 10 interviews set up with our friends at Young Voices about a bunch of different subjects. Harry and I have worked out a schedule, or working on a schedule, for the Weird Libertarians episodes. But then I'm also going to have this third bucket of foundational episodes where I set the table, okay? Here's what I believe. Here's what I think works from a political, ideological perspective. Because I have to work through this, get your feedback on it, and have a conversation about it. And I hope that it helps you, because I've just seen people in the libertarian movement, they give up on a principle. This happens in the church, right? You give up on a principle like, well, Paul didn't mean that women can't be pastors. I don't like that verse. I haven't fully studied into all of it, but it seems pretty clear what he's saying in it. And then all of a sudden your church doesn't ever talk about the salvific work of Jesus Christ. You're talking about, I don't know, how evil Donald Trump is instead of worshiping Jesus. You know, and there's the analogs, and I'm not going to both sides it. But I have seen right-wing populists pretend to be libertarians for the last 5 years or more, and it always starts with give up on the non-aggression principle. And then you wonder why those people, after 5 to 10 years, have floated so far from the basic tenets of libertarianism while still calling them libertarian. They are culturally libertarians, but they are not libertarians in actual ideological beliefs. And it's because you give up on principles. You untether yourself from written down ideologies, principles, beliefs. And the core of Western society is that we tether ourselves to written rules as opposed to the whims of an individual. And so it is not surprising that people who give up on Western values end up in a place that is far from Western. It's not even Eastern. It's autocratic. It's tyrannical. It's setting the table with the anti-Semitism, the rule of man, the masses are feminine, and anyone that disagrees with us is feminine and weak, and if you don't buy into what we believe, you must be a coward. We know where this is going, and everybody seems just asleep at the wheel. So I think it's really important right now, as the right continues its trajectory towards a fascist objective, and the Democrats respond by being, at best, left-wing populist, at worst, socialistic. I don't think like Chuck Schumer is a socialist. I think AOC would initiate European-style socialism. But I think the people behind them have a very dangerous ideology, similar to the way that what we have seen now is, now that the brush has been cleared from all the weak Republicans and the right wing has revealed itself as on an authoritarian track, you're going to start to see that process on the left. Because what you're seeing right now is a replay of 10 years ago under the Obama administration. I can't get anything through Congress, so let me do a bunch of things with executive power. And the Republicans are totally unable to stop any of it, so they flounder. And something more, quote unquote, inspiring and guttural comes out of that weakness and inability to stop the worldview of the other side, which is, we are told, an existential threat. So I think the Democrats are going to end up in a very radical place. The Republicans will stay in a very radical place. Steve Bannon is saying the Constitution doesn't say what it says about Donald Trump not running for a third term. We're going to find a loophole, and Donald Trump will be president in 2028. Believe him. It's not a joke. He's serious. Everything's on the table now. So we need to put on the table what a healthy, real, normal, functioning society looks like. One that's rooted in peace, harmony, prosperity. And it's going to get called weak. It's going to get called incapable of happening. It's going to get called utopian. But I don't care. At least we are putting it out there, and we are saying this is what works. This is why. This is what we believe. And we're not going to participate in your utopian fantasies of coercion and forcing other people to live in a way that breeds resentment and war. So stay tuned. That's going to start in the next month. I've gotten the outlines done. I've got to start putting meat on the bones of the episodes. But I think I'm just going to kind of dive in because I've been sitting on this for months, and I'm like, if you just, it's never going to be perfect enough. You got to, what I have learned doing We Are Libertarians and the Chris Spangle show is you've got to just start, bolt on the wings as the airplane is flying. So I'm just going to get rolling here soon, and it's not going to be perfect, and I'm sorry. But at least we're making an effort, right? So, I keep... It would be a lot easier to not do this show anymore. I'll be very candid with you. It's very difficult to get time to do it. It's difficult to get people scheduled. It's difficult to get Harry and the boys in the studio. It would be easier not to give a shit. Not about the show, but just about all of this. Like, not have the stress of saying out loud what you think. And that is by design. That is on purpose. But what I would say is I keep doing it because of your support. So if you enjoy the show and you support the show, thank you. I now edit 9, 13, about 18 different podcasts. 14, 15 of which air monthly at least. Some weekly. It's a tremendous amount of mental capacity that goes towards editing video and audio podcasts and making clips and posting all that stuff. That's the bulk of what I do. In addition to being a manager, a director at the company, a media company now, which has been super fun, super interesting. And I've got a young family, one on the way, 1-year-old, 6-year-old, and they really expect me to be home at 5, so I've got to get up earlier to get everything done. Still got the pat down going, still have the side editing, all that, the studio here. So I think it would just, I'll be honest, I'll be candid with you, it would be a lot simpler in my life to not have We're Libertarians involved anymore, but I do it because you believe in this, you appreciate this, and I appreciate you for that encouragement. And so I'm digging in harder, and I'm doing more because I think it's important, and I think you think it's important. So thank you for your support. I greatly appreciate it. And we will see you again soon.